spiritual sequel to Clerks. Like, Clerks was very, oddly enough, Clerks was like the first film made with raw passion and shit like that. Never thought about a career, only thought about Clerks. Just had to make that movie, make it or die. You know, it was in my blood. I was very emo about it. And this one, same thing. Like, when I made it, all the other movies, when I was making them, I was always thinking about what was next and how to set up the next one or the one beyond that and shit like that. And, you know, I realized back on Zack and Miri, I was like, I'm going to be done soon. I don't have anything left to say in screenplay form. I could feel it. It's kind of running, time's running out and shit. So I started plotting my exit. Because, you know, I'm dramatic. I like to do everything very dramatic and shit like that. And the end of my film career, I felt like, you know what, I owe it to myself to be very emo about that. So I looked for kind of like, how do I get out? How do I get out of it and whatnot? And Red State is like step 3 of a 3-part process of leaving behind something that I love so fucking much. But in a world where I kind of jumped in, made Clerks, and then somebody picked it up right away, like, I never really had to be indie very long. Like, suddenly, from there on in, people would be like, what do you want to do? And I'd be like, Mallrats. They'd be like, here's a check, go do it. And I'd be like, right on. So, suddenly, I was kind of making one type of flick, comedies, because I like making them. They're easy to make. They're easing to get greenlit. I like making people laugh and shit like that, so I stuck in with doing the Views Universe movies, and it's leaning more toward just comedic stuff. But, like, this is what I dreamed about doing. Like, I dreamed about making a movie like Clerks, doing a comedy, and then making a movie like Red State, kind of something like this, making a movie like Dogma, which would be like, kind of tonally like this, funny and also weird and shit like that. So I got kind of sidetracked in a wonderful way. Like, I loved my career and stuff like that, but once I realized time's running out, and it be it self-imposed, it's still a ticking clock, I was like, oh shit, all the stuff I could have done and I didn't do. I was like Schindler at the end of Schindler's List. I was like, this pin could have fucking done so much. Except it was my life and not other people's. So I guess it wasn't like Schindler's List at all. But anyway, it was like that scene, kind of. But you just start thinking about, oh shit, all the things I could have done and didn't do and whatnot. And so I was like, I'm going to try to start cramming them in and make weird choices and break ties and fucking go out strongly. I felt like the way I came in. I felt like I came in like an artist. And somewhere in the middle, I got kind of complacent. And I remember doing interviews, hearing myself say this so many times, like, I love film. You know, film was my passion, but now it's my career. And the fucking 21-year-old me would just puke hearing that. Just want to kick the 41-year-old me, or actually I was saying that more when I was like 37, 38, like right in the fucking balls. Because you can't feel like that, man, not with art, you know, and that's what film is. It's an art form, right? And it's a business as well, show and business. But it was my first art. It was the one that I kind of got through with initially. It was how I learned to express myself in the first place before I found a bunch of different ways to express it. And when I got into it, I fucking loved it. You know, 20 years ago, from August 2nd, I sat in a movie theater at the Angelica Film Center in Manhattan, watching Richard Linklater's Slacker. At the end of it, I said, I want to be a filmmaker. 20 years, man, since that point. That's a big stretch of time, and I put everything I had into the flicks, man. Just kind of emptied the tank each time out, because I loved them. You gotta love your art. You gotta be way fucking passionate about it and shit. And the idea that I would sit there in interviews and be like, yeah, it's my career now, was just so fucking strange. You can't be like that. Like, you gotta love your art the way that you love that fucking girl that like just drove you wild, the girl that like in high school or college, or if you're a girl, the guy in high school or in college, or if you're into the gay scene, whatever, somebody, that person, if you will, in high school or college that you were just fucking hung up on, man, that you act a fool for and shit, and you would like tell your friends like, I'm sorry, I'm not hanging out with her, man, she just blows my mind. Everything she says is fucking interesting. And you don't even play cool at all. You would call her first thing in the morning and be like, hey, do you want to do something today? You don't have a certain move. You're just fucking desperate for that person. And the chick that you could just listen to her say anything, you go out to eat all the time, go to like Denny's and shit, and fucking sit across from her in Denny's and be like, I can't believe this chick fucking likes me. This is astounding. And you eat your moon's over my hammy, I guess. And she just like stroking your fucking leg with her foot and looking at you with that eyes, and she's just stirring her hot cocoa, and she just drops a spoon in the cup, and she goes, let's go fuck in the bathroom. And you're like, no, man, this is fucking Denny's. We can't fuck in the bathroom. And she's like, why the fuck not? What are you, a pussy? And And then she fucking reaches down and then takes her hand and puts it under your nose. And then she's like, I'll be in there. And she heads to the bathroom and you look around, you see people around who figure out, like, I think they're going to go fuck in the bathroom. And you're just caught, like, what are you doing? A waitress is looking at you like, I hope they're not going to dine and ditch. And you don't care. You throw caution to the wind, you go and you fuck in the Denny's bathroom. And that's how you have to feel about your art. So much that you'll fuck it in the Denny's bathroom. No questions asked, zero hesitation and shit. And I got to a point where I didn't feel that way about my art. You know, you get a little more calculated when you have a career. You start thinking about how if you do this, how it's going to affect the next thing. And like I said, in the midst of shooting something, you're always shooting or setting up something else in your head because that's how you have to work. You know, it's a very merciless business. And rise or fall, man, you're only kind of one project away from them being like, I'm sorry, who are you? So I would always set shit up while we were working on something else. You do that, man, and you just keep doing it, and you know, rather than go like, oh my God, this is fucking fantastic, we're making art each time, suddenly you start thinking about business. You have to start answering business questions and shit. There's more business in my head now, movie business, than I ever hoped it would ever be there. And not the good shit about the movie business, just like quadrants, fucking how amortization, fucking 2 weeks out, percentages of spend, just shit where you're just like, this has nothing to do with the best part of the job, which is like just making pretend and shit. So you start managing your career, and that's not making art, that's managing your career. And then when I realized, Zack and Miri, I think, was the flick where I was like, this doesn't even feel like a Kevin Smith movie anymore. It feels like me doing a Kevin Smith movie. And I was like, I think I'm running out of shit to say. Maybe I should start plotting the exit. Cop Out was part one, because I really wanted to do something different, and boy did I. I wanted to direct a script that I didn't write, because that's what people do. I wanted to give myself that credit, that shot, because I'd never done that before. And before I decided to like leave filmmaking, I was like, well, let me see if I could be a director for hire. I've never really thought about doing that. But that's what a lot of people do when they stop directing or stop writing their own scripts. Spike Lee was a big hero of mine. He used to write all his scripts, then one day he just stopped and he directs other people's scripts. So I was like, let me see if I can do that. I'm doing directing long enough, maybe I'll like it. And I didn't like it too much. It was okay to do as a cool experiment and shit for me, but at the end of the day, I just didn't feel like me. I'm a storyteller, and telling somebody else's story is just not really my bag. So I did it, and I also needed to accrue a bunch of knowledge to go out and do some marketing shit, so I wanted to be at Warner Brothers. Sue Kroll is the head of marketing there. She's like astounding. So Cop Out was going to be there. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll pull something out of this as well. And, you know, it was important. A lot of people were like, oh, fucking, he must have got paid a shit ton to make that piece of shit. Sadly, I didn't. I wish I thought to ask for more. But that movie, I took like an 85% pay cut from Zack and Miri, because I was like, I want to work with Bruce Willis. What a mistake. Anyway. So shit like that, you know, that was cool. I did that, and it was an interesting experiment, at the end of which I was like, I don't think I ever want to be a director for hire. You know, I don't think that's my path. And so I realized, okay, it's time to start shutting down. I'd already had the Red State script. I knew I wanted to make that movie. So there's that. And then I got one movie left to make, which is Hit Somebody, which, you know, it's a lot of people who don't really follow my career that closely and shit, just kind of know my work, like the early stuff, particularly the early funny stuff, as they say. And then when they hear that, like, I'm going to retire, they're like, oh, why? We're bullshit. And then second, they're always just like, wait, what is he doing? And when they hear that it's a hockey movie set in Canada, that's a kind of Valentine to Canada. People that don't follow my career don't get it. They're like, why don't you end with Clerks 3? That makes more sense. But if you know me, and if you've been following me for like the last 20 years, I don't think you have to be fucking Jessica Fletcher in Cabot Cove to know that, like, I got a crush on Canada. So it just made sense to kind of come up and finish with that. Hockey's a huge thing in my life, big metaphor in my life as well. And I used to play, not anything on the ice, but more street and stuff like that. But always been a lifelong fan. Always felt very, very Canadian in heart. So the idea of ending with that movie makes a lot of sense to me, and to most people that like really know me and shit. So this was a cool way to get to that movie. Red State, absolutely essential to get to hit somebody. I'm so proud of the flick, obviously. I gab about it all the time. But one of the things I love about it very dearly is it's half Canadian. Half of the financing came from fucking right up here, man. So give yourselves some applause, even though it's not your money, but still. On the poster you see an NBSH. Those were our co-financiers from up here, man. And without them, we wouldn't have made this weird little cartoon about America. So, I don't know. I've had fun making it. I'm going to talk about it for a little bit. Let's find out what you guys want to talk about. Are there just mics down here or any upstairs? Just down here? Thank you for your assistance. Let's start with, you know what, we'll start ladies. We'll start ladies.